Hello everyone, this is Tommy from Boys and Girls Clubs of St. Lucie County. During this tough time, we want to make sure that our children are still being read to and that literacy is still a top priority for our community. Today, I'm going to read The Tiny Seed by Eric Carle. During that time, I'm going to show pictures and I'm going to demonstrate techniques that you can do at home with your own children. During this time, if you need to go and fold laundry or go and make sure dinner's ready, do that. Let me read to your children. The Tiny Seed by Eric Carle. Eric Carle is a very famous author, and he actually wrote another book called The Very Hungry Caterpillar. And Eric Carle is one of my favorite authors because he creates all of his own images. So all of these beautiful pictures and things that you're going to see today, he actually creates them, cuts the paper apart, and then uses a collage to make the pictures. I bet you didn't know that. It is autumn. A strong wind is blowing. It blows flower seeds high into the air and carries them far across the land. One of the seeds is tiny, smaller than any of the others. Will it be able to keep up with the others? And where will they all be going? I wonder where the seeds are going. Let's keep reading. One of the seeds flies higher than the others. Up it goes. It flies too high, and the sun's hot rays burn it up. But the tiny seeds sails on with the others. I wonder where that tiny seed's going to end up. Let's keep reading. Another seed lands on a tall and icy mountain. The ice never melts, and the seed cannot grow. The rest of the seeds fly on, but the tiny seed does not go on as fast as the others. So we know that when we're planting seeds, that seeds need specific things to grow, and plants need specific things to grow, right? They need water, they need sun. We're going to see in the tiny seed, one of the seeds landed on top of an icy mountain, and it couldn't go into the soil, and so it couldn't grow. So we had to keep reading and see, but it wasn't the tiny seed. That one's going to keep going on. Let's see where it ends up. Now, they fly over the ocean. One seed falls into the water and drowns. The others sail on with the wind, but the tiny seed does not go as high as the others. So sometimes it seems like being a tiny seed is even better than being a big seed. One seed drifts down onto the desert. It is hot and dry, and the seed cannot grow. Now the tiny seed is flying very low, but the wind pushes it on with the others. So this seed landed in the desert, and it couldn't grow. Oh, that's because there wasn't enough water for the seed to grow. Finally, the wind stops, and the seeds all gently fall down onto the ground. A bird comes by and eats one seed. The tiny seed is not eaten. It is so small that the bird does not see it. So sometimes you can think that because something is tiny, that it's not a good thing. But in this case, the tiny seed, it didn't get eaten by the bird, and it kept going, and it didn't fly as high as the other one that burned up in the sun. So a tiny seed is good. Look at how beautiful this picture is of the bird. All of these are different papers that were cut and shaped to make that bird. That's how Eric Carle makes all of his photos in his books. Now it is winter. After their long trip, the seeds settle down. They took just as if they were going to sleep in the earth. Snow falls and covers them like a soft white blanket. A hungry mouse that also lives in the ground eats a seed for his lunch. But the tiny seed lies very still, and the mouse does not see it. The tiny seed is still going on. Wonder what's going to happen. Now it is spring. After a few months, the snow has melted. It is really spring. Birds fly by, the sun shines, rain falls. The seeds grow so round and full, they start to burst open. Wow. They burst open a little. Now that they are not seeds anymore, they are plants. First, they send down roots into the earth. Then their little stems and leaves begin to grow up towards the sun and the air. There is another plant that grows much faster than the little plants. It is a big fat weed. and it makes all the sunlight and rain away from one of the small new plants. And that little plant dies. The tiny seed hasn't begun to grow yet, so it will be too late. Hurry! But finally, it too starts to grow into the plant. So see the big old fat weed down here? It's blocking this plant right there from growing. We're waiting for the other seeds to grow up towards the sun and be watered by the rain. The warm weather also brings the children out to play. They too have been waiting for the sun and springtime. One child doesn't see plants as he runs along and, oh, he breaks one. Now it cannot grow anymore. That's a big foot, and it stomped right on that plant right there. He broke it, but it's not going to grow anymore. The tiny plant that grew from a tiny seed is growing fast, but its neighbor grows even faster. Before the tiny plant has 3 leaves, the other plant has 7. And look, a bud. And now even a flower. Wow. So here's a tiny seed. There's another plant. It already grew up very big and tall and strong and has a flower on top. A boy picked the flower to give to a friend. So that big one, the one that grew up big and tall and strong, it got picked and somebody gave it. It is summer. Now, the tiny plant from the tiny seed is all alone. It grows on and on. It doesn't stop. The sun shines on it and the rain waters it. It has many leaves. It grows taller and taller. It is taller than the people. It is taller than the trees. It is taller than the houses. And now a flower grows on it. People come from far and near to look at this flower. It is the tallest flower they have ever seen. It is a giant flower. We don't have flowers that big around here, do we? That's a great big flower, isn't it? All summer long, the birds and bees and butterflies come visiting. They have never seen such a big and beautiful flower. Wow, look at all the birds and butterflies, bees are all coming to visit the great big flower. Remember, it started just as a tiny little seed. Now it is autumn again. The days grow shorter, the night grows cooler, and the wind carries yellow and red leaves past the flower. Some petals drop off the giant flower, and they sail along with the bright leaves over the land and down to the ground. A petal fell off of the flower. Oh, because it's autumn. Autumn and fall are the same season. So the leaves started to fall off when it got a little bit cooler outside. The wind blows harder, and the flower has lost almost all of its petals. It sways and it bends away from the wind, but the wind grows stronger and it shakes the flower. Once more, the wind shakes the flower, and this time, the flower's seed pod opens. Out come many tiny seeds and quickly sail away on the wind. Wow, it's almost like the beginning of the book when the seeds were flying in the wind. And that is the very end. So we went through this whole story, and at the beginning, they showed seeds blowing in the wind, and we looked at the tiny seed and all of those things, and at the very end, it's like it started again. So do you think that every year that happens with flowers? I think so. There are many resources available. There's a lot of classic books on YouTube, parents, that you can share with your child. Or if you have books at home, take a few minutes to read with them, because during this time, we want to make sure that the kids are still learning, that we're spending time, we're limiting screen time, and that you have access to the things that you need. We're going to include a link below to a place where you can find additional resources to develop literacy with your child. Thank you.